Hello, everyone. I'm Monica Helleberg. I'm chairman of the World Freedom Alliance, and we are reporting today from a very urgent happening in Denmark, where a young woman was sentenced for 2 years imprisonment for speaking out on a rally. And we really want to hear what is happening in Denmark and to really see the reactions from people within World Freedom Alliance about this awful event in Denmark. So please, Mats, can you tell us more about what's going on in Denmark, please?
Yeah, obviously it's a very, very serious situation and a very sad day for everybody, both the freedom fighters, but everybody believing in democracy and freedom of speech. It's absolutely crazy. She has now been convicted for something where there is a proposed intention that is implied, which is the opposite of what she actually said, which means that we could all go to jail for anything if we are saying go up. If she's been jailed for 2 years, or convicted to be jailed for 2 years, for saying let's smash the town in a non-violent manner. And the last was emphasized. I have seen the video. So she says, let's smash the town. I mean, this is a typical thing you say, kind of, if you are coming from, a background where you use a lot of slang, it means, let's put some energy into it. And so she says, let's smash the town. And then she realized, okay, maybe it could be misunderstood. So she then emphasized in a non-violent manner. And that was emphasized. I saw the video. And first, she was taken to court for 24 hours, put in front of a judge, and the judge immediately dismissed the case as pure rubbish, of course, as it should be. The police then responded by appealing to the second instance of court we have, which is called the Landsret, and jailed her for 60 days in custody. And this is a mother of 2 children that are 2 and 5. And you don't have to be a psychologist to imagine what psychological damage that will do, particularly to the 2-year-old. So it's pure evil to put her in custody after she was freed by the court first. Then she went to the Landsret yesterday and was convicted 2 years. And the maximum penalty was 3 years. I believe it was paragraph 133, I might be wrong. And that is saying that the person who has the intention to perform violence or threaten with violence on people or property can be punished with a fine or prison up to 3 years. So this is clearly, it says that you are doing this with the intention to perform a violent act or on person or property. So that's a clear word in there. The intention is there. And when you are using the word in a non-violent manner, how can you then be convicted of that? And I haven't read the full court document, but I have read that they write that it was said that she should have understood because of Men in Black had previously, been with some instances with the police, and 3 days after this alleged Trump supporter attack on the Capitol Hill on the 6th of January. So she should have understood that it was a possibility that she, with her expressions, could instigate to the violence. So she should have understood that implied in the way she spoke or the way because it's clearly not what she said, right? So she should have understood that, and that gives them 2 years in prison. She has been very, very vocal about pedophilia. She has been a regular speaker in practically all my demonstrations in Denmark, and very often she has been speaking about the rapist, the Danish foreign minister. And I consider it a rapist because he had sex with a girl who had just turned 15. She was under the influence of alcohol, I understand, because it was a social democratic convention, or they were to a gathering of some sort. in the youth movement. I think he was about he was over 30 at the time. He had just turned 15, and he knew that because he had been an intern in the Social Democratic Party when she was 14. She was then raped, and she was totally destroyed by this, devastated, and he was not, nothing happened to him. So you have a man who is being promoted to being Minister of Foreign Affairs, who is having sex with a minor, and then you have a person who is saying you should smash the town in a non-violent manner, and she gets 2 years in prison. And that is the exact same sentence a man who raped 2 female children of his girlfriend for several years. He got 2 years in prison. So you have a real pedophile who has sex with 2 small girls. He, in Denmark, gets 2 years in jail. And this poor mother of 2 children who says, let's smash the town in a non-violent manner, she gets the same penalty as a pedophile. And I think this is a clear message from the powerful pedophiles we have in the Danish government, that you should not speak out against the pedophiles. I have also been charged, I'll be going to court in November for calling the police protectors of pedophiles. So we'll see how that goes in November. I will, of course, be bringing witnesses in the court who can prove and testify. I already have several who are willing to do that, who will testify how the police have been protecting pedophiles, including refusing to take evidence against people who are pedophiles, and those people, pedophiles, were then released and were they later convicted of having had sex with more children. So they could have been protecting these kids, but instead they were protecting the pedophiles. So we would be talking more about that. There's another thing I want to say, that is that there's a member of the parliament, Pernille Vermund. She is from a political party. She said that about a Muslim man who had done a crime. I'm sure he was a criminal. I'm sure he did something wrong. But nevertheless, this is what she said. A suitable punishment would be to wrap him in bacon and drown him in a sea of pig fat. So this is something she wrote in public, and I have a screenshot to prove it. Now, how much, if Nanna will get 2 years prison for that, how long prison time should she have for saying such a thing about a man, yeah, who may have been a criminal or not? I mean, we do not drown people in Denmark, do we? I mean, this is not right. This is encouraging to violence and even murder. And so I'm sure that, you know, there's the court is selective for whom they want to do it.
My glasses, baby, no?
I beg your pardon?
Okay. Okay.
So, Professor Dolores, you want to testify?
Hello, Dolores. Are you jumping on? Well, she'll jump on soon, I'm
jump
sure.
on in a moment. Okay, she's muted again. So basically, also, I think what is very important with this video is please to encourage particularly the Danish movement called Men in Black, of whom I have several friends who are in there, and also have someone who are probably not my friends, so to speak. But I strongly encourage that if you go out and think that it is smart to fight the police, I believe it's a huge mistake, and you're playing into the globalists' hands. You should prove, if you want to help Nanna and get her free, you should prove that what she meant by saying let's smash the town in a non-violent manner is please go around and be friendly, and you can of course shout and you can say whatever you want, you can have banners, but do not use anything that is illegal. That means no fireworks, no noise bombs, and please be as peaceful as you can. Of course, it's very serious what has happened, but it is. I strongly encourage everybody to be peaceful. The globalists would love it. The ordinary police are, most of them are really good people, and they're just I'm sure many of them are very unhappy that they happen to be police right now. Of course, you have bad apples within the police, like the 2 police officers who took my friend Klaus Christiansen out on a field and beat the crap out of him for not wearing a mask in the middle of the night. 10 I think, well, yeah, it was pretty much midnight. They took him out of a bus for refusing wearing a mask and beat him up. So we had a huge open wound in his forehead. And those two police officers are clearly an exception, and they are really psychopaths, and they should be dealt with, and they will be one day for sure. But most of the police officers are really, really, really friendly and peaceful people. In the court case, they refer to that she should have understood because of what Men in Black had done previously. That what happened was actually it was police agents, and we have that on recording. These were people who were not known by Men in Black. They were not known by anybody who are regular demonstrators. They had earpieces to be able to communicate. They were wearing the same boots. 5 people wearing the same boots, right? And they were seen talking with the police peacefully. They were seen throwing noise bombs both after the police, but also towards the demonstrators. So 100%, 100%, and I'm a former investment banker, I have a master degree in law. I'm saying as 100% certain as you can be in the court of law, those people would be charged if it was a crime to use police agents, and then they would be charged and convicted guilty of being a police agent. So maybe not all, but some of the trouble that has been with Men in Black is clearly that it was police agents who threw the bottles and the noise bombs. And of course, Men in Black gets blamed for that. And most people don't understand that the police has agents called agent provocateur. Most people are not familiar with the concept. So we will see what happens, but strongly encourage, please, let's be non-violent. It's very, very important, particularly now. Let's get Nanna out of jail, and let's even use the expression, let's smash the town in a non-violent manner to show that what that means is non-violent, and that's legal. It's our right to demonstrate in a non-violent manner. She has complied to the law, and it's a huge travesty that has happened here. Thanks a lot for allowing me to speak my point of view here.
Thank you, Mats. Thank you. And just to add to that, in Sweden, we had a big manifestation in Stockholm last weekend. And just the same, there were provocateurs, someone just completely charging against the police that was wearing a mask, and none of us were wearing masks because we protest against it. So this one man wearing a mask was provoking the police, which is kind of obvious that it wasn't one of us. So yes, really. And Mick, would you like to comment on this? And also present yourself first.
Yeah, my name is Mick. I've served in the British Army for 30 years. I also trained Kent Police, Suffolk Police. I'm a linguist. I'm a master trainer of neuro-linguistic programming. So I can come at this from a number of perspectives. Certainly the fact that you have Nanna being given the kind of sentence that she's been given comparatively is exceptionally heavy. But what I see has happened here is that the judge has clearly manipulated language. What people should remember is that language can be manipulated to create meaning. When we hear language, we hear it through our own filters. And of course, if you start to manipulate language in such a way that makes something plausible, then people will believe it. People do not work on truth. A truth is a verifiable fact. It's something that you can absolutely prove beyond doubt. And that's what a court should be about. Never manipulating language to make something sound plausible so that you can incarcerate another human being. Because that human being had the strength of courage to stand in her power and speak her piece, which for me is really, really key to this. So clearly, from my perspective as a linguist, I believe that what has happened is that Nanna's language has been manipulated to make it plausible to the masses that she was going to create violence, which is a complete travesty on lots of levels, just to make an example to scare people again. Because for me, this is a scare tactic. What this sends a clear message out to other people is that you are not allowed to speak freely. You are not allowed to have an opinion. And you know, the whole essence of freedom of speech is that irrespective of your message, it should be heard. I totally endorse Mads's message around making things peaceful. And if we're going to demonstrate and we're going to represent our perspective, that should always be done peacefully. And I certainly, when I spoke at Hull and I spoke at Manchester, a number of the police actually came up to me and they said, I don't know who you are, but I can assure you that we understand you and we are with you. That's what they said to me, which for me endorses that people are intelligent enough to interpret this situation. It's just a case of how it's fed and how it's presented. And the judge has literally misrepresented some language and manipulated it to sound plausible from her perspective. And that's what people will generally listen to. So from that perspective, there is no surprise to me that she's done that, because she has to justify the sentence that she has decided to give. So those are my thoughts on this particular situation, Monica.
Yes, thank you very much, Mick. Very, very valuable. And please, Henna, from representing the amazing Police for Freedom, you know so much about keeping the peace, about the police perspective, and please give us your thoughts around this.
Yeah, well, first of all, I would like to just address, the police as our uniformed sisters and brothers, and they are in a very difficult position. So, on the one hand, you must guarantee that law and order is in place, but on the other hand, the uniform does not shield anybody from the moral responsibility that they carry as a human being. So this was established in the Nuremberg trials, that it was not, that one cannot appeal to the fact that they were only following orders when there's a crime taking place. So if the police are being put into a place where they have to enforce mandates that are unlawful, then they are actually exposing themselves personally to criminal prosecution. And so we have to understand that the Constitution has first and foremost been written to protect the individual and the fundamental rights of the individual, because without that, there is no justice in society. And society is not some separate entity which supersedes the rights of one. Society consists of individuals. So please, my uniformed sisters and brothers, recognize that in these challenging times, the individual's right to gather and protest must be upheld and guaranteed by the police. And this is in everyone's interest, because we can't separate the rights of the public from the rights of the police. They are one and the same. So by preventing citizens from standing up for their inalienable rights, like freedom of speech, freedom of bodily integrity, freedom of movement, and the right to make a living with dignity, then the police are actually sabotaging their own rights and the rights of their families. So we have to know that the human rights activists are actually standing up for all equally, including the security forces. So it's in the interest of the security forces to allow the public to demonstrate and speak and express themselves in this crisis, because there is no need to protest when there is peace. So now is the time that we have to protest. It's in these times of crisis, that we have included in the Constitution the right to demonstrate. So we are now witnessing appalling censorship. There's emergency laws being put into place that are in direct violation of individuals' rights. Data is unclear, and the cure seems to be worse than the disease. So this is exactly when the police have to safeguard the freedom of speech more than ever, and also the professional ethics of the security forces, because otherwise our societies are in danger of morphing into an oppressive police state. And so this is what the Police for Freedom movement is all about, is urging the people to protect their position in the police by nonviolent disobedience. Also, the police have the right to not follow orders that are unlawful and that are criminal, that are putting in danger their fellow citizens. So it's all about knowing in your heart what is right and checking within your own moral compass what is actually going on and whether you're willing to take that order. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Anna. And I just remember the other day we were talking to Vera Sharab, who's a Holocaust survivor, and what really stayed with me, what the conclusion we came to is that everyone has to follow their own conscience, like period. We can't.
And can I add something to that, Monica?
Yes, please, Mick. Yeah.
A police constable's training, essentially, and my partner's father served with police for over 30 years. And I hold a lot of conversations with him. And what he affirms to me is at this moment in time, the police are no longer acting autonomously. They are trained to be an autonomous individual and to uphold the law, just as Henna said. So they should make decisions based on the law. In front of the law, the things that they are actually observing in that moment. They also have a duty to uphold the law if it's being broken by a colleague. They have the moral obligation to do that. And of course, because police are now following diktats, because they're scared of any repercussions from their organizations, they are no longer autonomous. They are becoming agents. And the most dangerous people in history, as we find out from the Auschwitz gentlemen, the Holocaust gentlemen, the most dangerous people in history are the ones that just follow orders.
Exactly. And that's what kind of dehumanizes us. And we really need to, I mean, if you look at the situation with this mother of 2 little children that was bravely speaking out in a rally, no logic can ever, convince anyone, I'm quite sure, that has a human heart and a conscience, that she should be separated from her children for 2 years.
Absolutely.
Speaking out. I mean, that's madness. That's complete madness. And when a society is going mad, it's everyone's duty to peacefully stand up. I mean, it's a responsibility. It's not even an option to just watch it. I mean, it's
no. And of course, Monica, and of course, when we observe a behavior, I read a lovely book called Man's Search for Meaning that was written by a psychiatrist that survived the Holocaust. And what he observed emotional death through desensitization. So when you see someone hit or beaten, initially, that's quite horrific. You should remember that, because that's not normal. It is not normal behavior. And then what he also said that is the more you see this, the more you become desensitized to it, the more it becomes the norm. It is not the norm. It's never been the norm, and nor should it ever be accepted as the norm.
Exactly. It's just like masks. In Sweden, we still don't have any masks, like any fines for masks, whatever. So when you go to another country, you're still kind of shocked. Everyone looks like zombies. You can't see any expressions. It's really scary. And that should be the normal reaction to people with masks. Because
absolutely. And we should remember that. We should remember
that. Yes. Like we still have that innocence in Sweden. It's kind of rare when you see someone with a mask. It's like, oh, that looks really scary, awful. That's a natural reaction,
And the same way that we should never allow our police or anyone to be the perpetrators of some of the things that they're doing, because equally we start to accept those as normal everyday behaviors, and they are not. We should remember where we've been.
Exactly.
And that is, for me, is fundamental to restoring that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I just wanted to highlight the example of Spain, where the Police for Freedom movement started, that prior to that, there was a lot of police brutality, illegal arrests, and a lot of civil unrest. And this movement was started in order to heal that, to create unity and trust between the police and the civilians, because if we allow this separation to get stronger, it is a very fruitful ground for the other side to use this against us and even bring a foreign armed force into place, or even tighter restrictions, or the military on the streets. So if we see increasing police brutality, we should not respond to that with violence, but we should then
No.
try to alleviate that with cooperation and by restoring the humanity of the police, by addressing to them from a place of compassion and a place of dignity, you know, a place of accountability. I know that hate cannot drive out hate, like, you know, Martin Luther King Jr. said, only love can do that. So we have to lead by example and just know that the interests of the other side are trying to fuel distrust between police and civilians. And we must not play into that.
Agreed.
Yeah, they're provocations.
Violence breeds violence.
Exactly. We shouldn't, you know, just fall into the trap of provocations, and we have to, you know, stay human.
And equally, Monica, our veteran communities, our military communities should be very aware of what's going on, because slowly but surely, in the UK, we are a family. The British soldiers, the British veterans, we are a family. And I can guarantee that in every British family, they will either have someone who served in the forces, someone who's currently serving, or they will know someone who is serving in the family, guaranteed. And of course, nor should our soldiers or our veterans ever get used to the idea that to reinforce this, to attack peace, is also to break all of the reasons that we gave our word and our oath to protect the basic freedoms that they should be maintaining.
And attacking the mothers, and we discussed that earlier, like why is it like both in Finland and Iceland and now in Denmark, they're attacking mothers and women, and this I think is also to scare other women, because what we see is a lot of engaged, you know, parents, grandparents, especially elder women. Is this a kind of tactic to scare them, because that, you know, that care for our children and grandchildren, that their genetics won't be distorted?
It's a very old technique. It's a very old technique, Monica.
Yeah,
you know, I having served in the British military for 30 years, the best way to break up the happiness of a family is to scare the mother or the matriarch. If you can affect the matriarch, you affect the whole family, because the ripples are huge.
Exactly. So
and
now
of
we
course,
ask the mothers especially that you have to stay brave like this. Do not fall into the fear, because you're so important. That I call it like the wolf mother is so strong, you know, that will just...
Well, and it's the wolf mother who will influence the male.
Exactly.
And to be honest with you, we should now get our young men and our men in across the world to stand behind these women that are brave enough to protest, the women that are brave enough to come forwards, to support them in that.
Brilliant, amazing. Tessa, you want to bring your perspective as living in Denmark and really watching this closely and seeing what's going on in Denmark on many different areas?
Yeah, I can do that. Well, I've been following a lot of these demonstrations that Denmark has been having, and also a lot of things what's been happening in Europe. And what I've seen here in Denmark is that there is so much heart. You guys are amazing. You bring the heart to the demonstrations, and you're doing it in such a peaceful manner. It's really honorable to be part of this country right now, because you have shown the way in so many ways, and there are many countries that have been looking to you. And I'm going to tell a story that I've been telling all along. And when I was in school, when I was little, I'm Swedish, they always told us that, well, Denmark and Sweden fought, and sometimes Sweden won, sometimes Denmark won. But we often wonder, how come Denmark, that was such a small country, could really stand up to the Swedish army that was so huge? And we never got a good answer to that. And I never did until I moved here, because it all comes down to the heart. Because what I see here in Denmark with you guys is that you have something I call a shield wall. When someone of you is put out there in the front in danger, and falls, you pick them up and you put them behind you, and you guys form that shield wall that the Vikings did. You protect one another. And that's what I've been seeing again and again and again here in Denmark. And right now I'm seeing this with Nanna as well. I've been seeing the hashtags, Jag är Nanna, I am Nanna. I've been seeing that on the profiles everywhere. And that's the heart. That's also what is needed tonight, because I know there's going to be rallies. Bring the heart, bring the light in your heart, because I know that's what she's wanting, because that's what she was meaning by protesting in a peaceful manner. So bring the light in your heart, because they are all doing this to intimidate everyone from speaking out, because it's not just a voice that is being silenced here. They're trying to silence all of our voices. And if we don't have our voices, we don't have anything, then we're doomed. So we got to keep our voices, but we do it in a peaceful manner, with the heart. So go, look within, look in the heart, and be that shield wall that I know you are.
Mm. Thank you, Tessa. That was so beautifully said.
And Monica, may I add something
Yes,
to
please,
that?
Nick. Yes, go ahead.
You know, with all of these activities, it's worth remembering that when the governments want to introduce an initiative, it does it individually. So this initiative to lock Hannah up for 2 years, if we accept this and we just allow this to happen, it won't be long before the same strategy, the same initiative is done all over the world, because they're doing it individually to see the response, the level of response. And we can beat this with peace and numbers.
Mm.
We just need numbers and we need awareness.
Brilliant, Mick. Thank you. Mats, you want to sum this up? And if Dolores, if you can hear us, I know you're there in the background. We'd love to have you jump on as well. But please go
I'll
ahead.
jump on in 2 minutes, Monica. I'll put on my camera.
Great, Dolores. Thank you. Mats, you have any comments to that?
Well, first of all, as the token Dane in this conversation, I would like to express on behalf of everybody I know, the gratitude for this very, very kind view from Sweden on Denmark. That's great, and we are always fighting between each other and joking with each other. But if anybody ever attacks a Swede, the shield goes around the Swedes as well. I know that. I've been living all over the world, and we are always teasing each other, but we're always on each other's side and supporting each other's football team and so on. So that's nice. Lastly, I would like to just add maybe the possibility of suing the government for the personal injury done to the kids. And that's something, while we were talking, I just had my lawyer calling, so I'm calling him right back. We will look into that as well, because this is outrageous. You will get they will be damaged from this, from being without their mother, and the relationship between the mother and her children will potentially take long before she'll be able to regain the trust of these little tiny children. So it truly is horrible what has been done to this mother, and it shows the level of evilness with the people who are currently in power, and we are going to remove them sooner or later. Let's just hope it'll be sooner, because people are dying. Literally yesterday, even in Denmark, they took off the vaccination program because too many people died from the vaccinations. Even though they've been trying to hide it and lie about it, we now currently have more people dying per day than we ever had in the Danish history. And that happened exactly when we started vaccinating people. I have been out canvassing voters all over Denmark over the last week. I was in Jutland, and a lady who, of course, wants to remain anonymous, she works in the field of allocating places on homes for the elderly. And in December, it was impossible in the entire town, and this is a large town in Denmark, that it was impossible to find a space. But 4 weeks after the vaccinations, you can now pick and choose any elderly home you wish.
Oh my God.
Because there are empty spaces everywhere.
Oh, yeah, that's so devastating. Really.
Monica, can I add just a little snippet?
Yes, yes.
Just to let people out there know, I've been speaking to a justice of the peace, and she is prepared to go on the record and be interviewed by us to say what she is observing within the judiciary. So it's not just us. You know, there are lots of professionals out there that are prepared to speak their case and represent exactly what we're talking about and support it.
Oh, great. Yes, that's what we need. We need all these stories to just be exposed and get out there so people really understand what is really happening and going on. Hi, Dolores. Yeah. Oh, you're with us.
Hello, everyone.
You listen in the background.
I was listening to everything in the background.
Our amazing president of the World Freedom Alliance.
Very good. Hello, everyone. And I really was moved by all of the speakers. And I think it's very, you know, Tessa gave a very eloquent overview from, you know, a perspective of somebody who's living in Denmark. And I thought Henna, with being the Police for Freedom, is amazing. And Mick and everyone in MAD. So I think I just wanted to echo that maybe we could propose to say, starting from Kessel in Germany is the initial movement for world freedom and democracy. And we are having a meeting, you know, a march for that. And there's over 50 countries in the world. And maybe we could have the theme of the 20th of March, an additional theme to say, I am Hannah. You know her name?
Nanna.
How do you spell her name, Matt?
Nanna, with 3 N's.
So maybe we could say, you know, like in the French thing that we say, the theme is that we are all in project accountability. Every single one of us have to stand up, but that the theme would be that we are her. So essentially, a mother of 2 young children is being put, is not yet, but a court in Denmark has decided she could get 2 years in prison for free speech offenses. So that if we say the theme, I will ask the theme in Ireland will be that we are, I am, what, say her name, I want to pronounce
Nanna with an N.
With 3 N's. 3 N's.
Nanna. Yeah, that we say that the theme is I am Nanna, right? Because exactly as Mick says, they are pushing individual precedence cases in a way to deal with individual people and then publicizing that in the world in order to desensitize us and in order so that, you know, mothers and family members and people with children will not go to rallies in order to support the philosophy of freedom and free speech, you know, by actually trying to put a mother of young children in prison. So that is what we see. It's a psychological tactic. It's a use of language. It's a misrepresentation of the truth. So I just want to echo again what everyone said is that we in the World Freedom Alliance are entirely for peaceful exercise of our freedoms of assembly and freedom of speech. We say that all people in the police and the military are our brothers and sisters. As Mick says, they are our family members. We are endorsing free speech. And what the people in this globalist unaccountable agenda want is that people are frustrated now after a year, and that the rallies that happen on, you know, in the future and on March 20th, that if they want to have people frustrated, but we have to stand in the truth. And we are saying the only way out of this is freedom, truth, and love and respect. And that we are all Nanna together. And that all the theme of the marches is that we, police, need freedom of speech. Everybody, the courts, the judges, the governments, everybody, our societies only work if we have free speech, if we have freedom to travel, including to exercise free speech, and freedom to live in our community. And we are, you know, the truth has already been exposed now that what is going on, there is no necessity for masks or lockdown. And we have to turn this back on the ministers for health in each of our countries and the elected presidents and prime ministers. And the question is, why are you not making life-saving treatments available to prevent death? Why are you not communicating vitamin D and the 20 approved, including hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin? So the lockdowns are causing death because the governments are not communicating there are prevention and treatments. And then, so that rests at the individual ministers and prime ministers. There is no need for the lockdown. And therefore, there is no need for the police or the courts to be criminalizing people exercising free speech. And I'm launching Project Accountability in Ireland, and we will.
Sorry, Dolores, we lost you there. Dolores? Yeah.
We need to video in the rallies all the time in Ireland on St. Patrick's Day, the 17th of March, and everywhere in the world, that if police are engaged in criminal or unlawful behavior, we want people to video it, ask the police for their numbers, and we in the World Freedom Alliance around the world will be working with Police for Freedom and all of the organizations, Lawyers for Liberty, to hold individual police to account. And that includes police in Ireland saying that, asking you questions about where you are traveling to, and any police doing unlawful behavior. And even the judge in this case, if the judges are engaged in making decisions that misrepresent the actual truth and facts of the case, then we have to look at what are the mechanisms for holding judges and courts into account. And I would say, if you are an elected official or a president or a prime minister now, we want a walk-away movement, that the members of parliament, the presidents, the ministers have to walk away from what is going on. There is no need for the lockdown. There is no need for this curtailment of free speech. And what's going on now is in the realms of significant criminal behavior on behalf of all of the organs of state that we trust. And in Project Accountability, we are going to say every single person will be held to account. And so just to finish off, we are supporting free speech. We are supporting entirely peaceful behavior, and that we will all stand in truth and love of the police, who are our brothers and sisters. We will meet them with love. In the rallies as well, there is a mechanism that if the police start to attack, as they did in Trafalgar, that maybe people would sit down and sit on their hands and maybe sing. So to make sure that rather than just running away, that it's very obvious to everyone that they are peacefully protesting, and maybe to start to sing at these rallies, "We will overcome," or some songs that will actually relieve the tension of the situation within the rallies on March the 20th, and also to act in an extremely peaceful manner, and maybe not to be provoked by the police, because in Ireland it was seen there may be police undercover agents instigating the initial assaults on people as if they are on the police, who are our brothers and sisters. So I just want to thank everybody and to say that in the World Freedom Alliance, maybe this is a precedence case that we all in the world have to stand behind Denmark and stand behind Nanna and Mads, who is leading this in Denmark. So lovely to be on the call today.
Thank you so much, Dolores. Would you like to add some closing words, Mads?
Yes, I would like to add one closing comment, just to show the pure evil of some people in power. Nanna is a very, very, very attractive, beautiful, sweet lady of 30 years of age. And they said to her there were no room in the female prison, so they sent her into the male prison. Can you believe it? Well, how do you think she was sleeping at night there? I only pray that nothing happened to her, but I understand it. I don't know whether it was one night or 1 week or 2 weeks, but as I understand it, in the first period of time of her incarceration, she was in a male prison, all male prison. That is
maybe, Mads, can I just add, the people who are in prison are our brothers and sisters as well, and that we all have to forgive them. And maybe we could put a call out to even the prison wardens and the prison staff to understand what is going on, and that the people in the prison will protect her as well on behalf of everyone in society.
I think that's a very, very valid point, Dolores, and I'm sure that the people in prison, they would understand. They have a code of honor as well, and of course they would, of course, protect her. But you can imagine the fear of her if she is all of a sudden in a male prison. What thoughts might go through her head or not? I don't know. But it clearly is. It is an act of aggression and hate towards her that shows that this is not about law and order. It's about putting the boot on her face, like George Orwell was saying in 1984 book.
Thank you, Mats. And just to end this, I'll just really encourage everyone to look at the channels of the World Freedom Alliance, because right now we have the Light on Freedom campaign, where we really encourage everyone to take action. If it's just to, share your story and make a short recording about how this year under the pandemic, terror has been, or if it's just light a candle or sing a song. I think anything that we all can do, and if we all act from our heart, from our conscience, and stand together, because we are more people. We are more than 99%, and we need to remember that. We need to remember the power when we're being intimidated and fear and through media, whatever. This is much stronger. We are much stronger together. So thank you so much, everyone that was here today. It's an honor to work with you and do this together with you. There is hope, and there is strength,
and everyone on the call.
Yeah,
thanks to everyone on the call. Yeah, we're a family.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, everyone.
So thank you very much, and please share and spread the news, and you can go to worldfreedomalliance.org if you want to know more about us. Thank you very much.
The eyes of the world are on Denmark, and thank you, Mads and Monica and everyone on the call.
And
we're all
really a lot of strength and a lot of blessings and thoughts to Nanna and her family, and especially her small kids. And we really hope that this will be solved as soon as possible, that she will be released and sense will
maybe what we would offer, maybe
again.
Monica, is that the Lawyers for Liberty, that maybe we could have a call. We are in touch with all the top lawyers in the world, that we not only look to release her, but we actually look into and investigate the judge and identify the police that actually were involved in every aspect of this. Yeah,
definitely, because as you say, Mats, as well, there comes a time in the future where all of this will be reviewed again. So everyone needs to remember that the Constitution and our unalienable rights are stronger, and everyone will be faced with if they haven't upheld this or haven't stood up for these. So yes, so let's keep the peace, let's stay strong, and thank you everyone for watching and being with us. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.